Alright, what's going on, guys? I want to give y'all a real quick rundown of what I got going on here. This is my 1971 C10 Chevrolet pickup truck, short wheelbase. I'm doing a frame off restoration on. Frame's been sandblasted, powder coated, rear end's been powder coated, upper and lower's been powder coated on it. But let's stop talking about that for a second. Let's talk about this turbo LS I got going on. That's a VS Racing turbo kit. That's a 6-liter LS that I pulled out of a 2003 Chevrolet 2500 HD that had been wrecked. I'm doing a sloppy mechanics turbo build on this thing. Pulled the engine apart. The bottom end was perfect. Like, I mean, there was nothing wrong with the bottom end of this truck motor. This thing had been babied. I mean, it was in great shape. Went ahead and put a new Melling stock replacement oil pump in the engine. I put a new set of factory lifters in it. I put the sloppy stage 2 camshaft in it. New timing chain, all new seals. And I put the PAC 1218 valve springs in it that they recommend, and a set of 80-pound Delphi OEM decapped injectors that have been flowed. So 80-pound injectors, valve springs, and a camshaft for the most part. That's pretty much what we got going on. This is the, let's talk about the hot side of my turbo manifolds for a second. This is the ones you can buy off YouTube or eBay. If you Google LS turbo manifolds, this is the ones that pull up. And I'm going to get to the rest of it in just a second. If you're doing a C10 build, a 67 to 72, I don't know about anything beyond that, but I do know on this frame rail, you're going to have to notch it right here. It won't clear. You're going to have to cut a notch in this manifold right here to make this thing fit. So, get your grinder out and cut that out right there. Another thing is you're going to have to do, you're going to have to scoot the motor back. Factory small block holes went here, right there and right here. That crossover pipe is back here. Will not work with that motor sitting all the way front. You're going to have to move it to the back. So just while you got the motor up, take the engine perches out, move them back to these last two holes right here. Bore a hole in the straddle cross member down there. Set the motor down there. You'll be good to go. Anyways, continuing on the manifolds. All right, here we go. These things are plumbed to have a 30mm wastegate on them. I'm going to have to chop that baby off, take a hole saw to it, make it bigger, because the one that comes from VS Racing is a 40mm, so it won't work. Coming up over here to the hot side, it's pretty straightforward. They're pretty well built too, man. I mean, these things are nice. And they're starting to rust a little bit. I get that. I'm going to snatch them back off and have them powder coated. They've only been on here about a month, so I'm going to snatch them off and get them powder coated. But anyways, here's the hot side. And this is some of the stuff I want to cover with you guys on VS Racing's kit and just what I ran into on a C10 build. This is a 7875. That drain right there that comes on these turbo kits is actually angled. A CNC machine, so it'll be turned one way or the other. An angle, it ain't gonna work. I don't give a crap what you do, it ain't gonna work with that kick turn in it. You're gonna have to get a flat one, or you just take what I did and just whack that baby off straight and put some gasket maker on it and make it fit. It's sealed, it's working fine, it's gonna drain fine, it's good to go. Went cheap on my drain hose. This is a 5/8 piece of hose, fuel line if you will. It goes down into my drain in the oil pan. Couple things real quick. You're gonna have to buy this adapter boot. That hole coming out of that turbo right there, 7875, is a 2.5 inch. They send you 3-inch tubing. So you're gonna have to buy this little flange, this little boot right here. It doesn't come, it's a reducer. It comes from 2.5 up to 3. No big deal. I bought a couple of elbow 90s that did not come with the kit off of eBay for like $8 a piece. You know, one here, one here, and I think I got one on the other side. But if you're doing a C10, just keep in mind, if you're going to keep your inner fenders in here, you're going to have to do some measuring on this thing to make sure it clears. I came through the core support on both sides, came around the battery box, and up through here, and it'll clear the inner fenders just fine. Inner fender just barely clear, come right down here, bolt up, good to go. Same thing on the other side. As far as the intercooler goes, the best advice I can give you, go ahead and get your battery box, and go ahead and get your hood latch. Because I screwed up when I first mounted this intercooler. I mounted it up way up high, and I forgot about it. I didn't have the hood latch on, so I had to take it all back off and move it down, and that's when I decided to go through the core support. 3-inch hole saw did the trick. Just be sure you get all your measurements right. It does not come with any mounting brackets. Run by your local Russell Do-It Center or hardware store. Get you some flat galvanized and bend your own brackets. It's not hard to do. Just kind of giving you guys a view of what everything looks like. Another thing, on these LS throttle bodies, they don't send you the boot for it either. You're going to have to buy a 4-inch to a 3-inch. Mine's on the way from eBay. I think I gave like $8 or $9 for it. It wasn't much at all. Blow off valve is going to go right here. The flange that they send you right there. I'm going to snatch this off in the next day or two, TIG weld it on. That's where my blow off is going to go. The wastegate again is going to go on the back side. Yes, I am running a turbo 350 behind this motor. I had this thing laying over here in my shop. The pump was good in it. Gutted it, put a big spragnol in it, different valve body. It should hold that motor. Should. We're going to find out. Drop me a line, ask me a question, give me a comment. You guys got any concerns or anything about these trucks, man? I'm pretty well knowledgeable about these 67 to 72 C10s. So if you run into anything, let me know. I got 17 by 9.5 wheels on the back, 17 by 8s on the front, and this is another thing you're going to run into on these C10s is figuring out your dang wheel and tire size. These are some Nittos 275/50 17 is what I put on it. Had a brain fart. And then I did doesn't matter. I can't see it, it's too dark in here. Anyways, if you want to know what size tires and wheels and all that good stuff and backspacing, let me know. Just drop me a comment and I'll let you know. If you have any questions about these LMC pre-bent brake lines, drop me a comment. I'll do the best I can to give you a detailed video of them. Oil feed there. Of course, I got just a LSX oil feeder plate on the other side over there. I decided to run the AEN or AEM inline fuel pump on this thing. They recommend either that one or the Walbro that goes in the tank. I'm running the inline AEM. Let's go in here. I just went down to my local Advanced Auto Parts and bought a chrome or polished coil mounting bracket and stuck it on there. When you order these AEM pumps, they don't come with any fittings. They come with one AN fitting on the outlet. Run it by the Napa store in your town and get them to plumb it down to a 3/8 hose barb. And they'll stick some hydraulic fittings on it and it'll bolt right up. Piece of cake. Trying to think if I missed anything. Oh yeah, power steering stuff. I didn't know this. Didn't know much about Hydro Boost brakes when I bought this thing. It's a LS power steering pump. Come off an HD pickup truck, so it had Hydro Boost brakes on it. I'm only running 2 lines. This thing's got 3 coming out of it. You got 2 returns and 1 high pressure line. It's pretty self-explanatory. The high pressure line is going to have a different fitting on it, but just cap off one of the returns, use the other one. There's your high pressure. My turbo drain is right there going into the oil pump, or front of the oil pan rather. And man, that's pretty much it that I can think of off the top of my head. You know, a lot of these guys are a lot better fabricators than I am, and they'll build their own manifolds and stuff like that. Well, this is going to be a show strip truck, so I'm trying to make it look as clean as I can. Like I said, I'm going to take those manifolds back off and get them powder coated since they're rusting up. But anyways, that's where we're at. If you guys got any questions at all, just drop me a comment and I'll see if I can answer it for you. If I can, I will find out what I can for you. So there you go. I'm going to go back over here and finish fitting this door and make sure my rocker panels are good to go. And I'm going to fire up the welder this weekend, finish up my sheet metal work. So like I said, y'all drop me a line, let me know.